Jenny from Happy Hounds. I just want to do a little video in regard to lead work. I've had loads of inquiries about lead work recently and how we can make it easier for our dogs on the lead, especially when they're young and especially when they're learning. Now, I'll try and keep this video as quick as possible because, to be honest, there's a lot to it, but one of my first recommendations if you've got a young dog is one of these. Get a harness on your dog. Now, I used to even be one of these people that said, why would you put a harness on your dog? That's what huskies use, isn't it? Well, actually, it's not about the equipment, it's about the training. All this does is it has a really nice, safe control hold on your dog. For Lily here's got her harness on. On the most part, everybody else has their harness off, but Lily has a nice front, back and front clip to her harness. That means that we've got two ways of getting hold of her. She's one of our youngest in the crew at the moment. Hey guys. So all I want to do with her is be able to hang on to her if need be. Especially if you've got a young dog, especially if you've got a slightly scaredy dog as well. They might have that habit of going backwards. Scary. And they can slip a collar very easily if they really want to. So all the harness is doing is hanging on to the dog properly. You also find that you have more control if you do front and back clip on a double-ended lead. That also helps massively. And all we're doing there is hanging on to the dog the most effectively way we can. And when they are pulling, because we do know they just pull until they're choking themselves and all sorts of horrible stuff, is that they're pulling into a way that doesn't hurt them. Okay, so you imagine all that pressure on the neck is not good, especially after a long period of time. And some people might even think, well, it's their own fault. They're the ones that are pulling. Well, how about they just don't know any better? They just think that's how they need to be on the lead, so we need to guide them better. And then after that, it's all about training. Honestly, it's all about training. But if you, for example, Moon's started, this is one of Moon's original harnesses. She started on here when she was young and didn't know any better. She now just walks mostly on a flat collar, especially in a walk like this where she's probably going to be on lead for about 5 minutes, if that. So we move on to the collar once the heel work or loose lead work has started to be more in place. There's times when she's most definitely going to pull more. So if we are doing town walking, new walking, as in new places, or really busy where I need to have more control, then the harness goes back on. It's almost like a training harness now, literally, that we go back into that kind of mode of walking. If you have practiced that your dog goes out on a walk with you and pulls and pulls and pulls and pulls and pulls, and you just hang on, you're even counterweighting your weight against your dog, you need to change things massively. If you, because that is just how you've got used to doing it. Dogs work hugely on, just so you can see this lot, dogs work hugely on habit. So if they're used to doing that, you've got a harder habit to break. And what you can do, especially with the harness, is you can start to create two modes of transport. So this is the back of the harness with a useful loop on the back. Now, if you connect them on the back, that could be transport mode. So I don't mind if you're sniffing and you're pulling and too much. Maybe this is an ideal for long line work as well. Nice secure hold of the dog, especially if they get some speed on. And then we have the bottom loop, can be used for training mode. Now it will also help take some of the weight out of the dog when they're pulling, especially if you've got a big dog. But the other part of this is really important. If your harness is too loose, it's next to useless. It can also chafe the dog as well. If it's too loose, it's moving. If my shoes are loose, I get blisters. So if it's too loose, it's not useful. You need to have it just tight enough where you can get a finger or two underneath one of the bands, but nice and tight on the front and on the back. Harness wise, Y front harness. See that? So it crosses on a Y shape across the chest. This is a nice way to hold your dog. This is just the beginning stages of it. The stages of my lead work training is quite a few bits of it, but obviously on the most part, the harness is there to hold the dog The training, the instruction and the food reinforcement is there to ask the dog to do what you want them to do. Hang on, down this hill, they're all waiting for us. Yeah, so these are beginning stages. There is dogmatics, there is head collars. Now I only really recommend them if your dog's pulling habit is really severe, and or your dog is so much bigger than you in weight distribution that you struggle to hold them in certain situations. That also is a piece of equipment that needs to be trained in. Flat collars are doable, but I actually see that if Elsie, for example, has all her weight on this collar, it's not great for her. I can tell you. That girl used to be a pulling machine. She knows a lot better now, but she really let us put a lot of her weight into that leader and how to move her humans. So we've done loads of work with her and she's a lot better now. Not wearing the harness today because, like I said, she will be off the lead 95% of this walk. So the equipment comes first. Lastly, slip leads. Slip leads are there to what they'll be designed for gun dogs to be quick released when they're needed to work in the field. Real quick release, and for the most part quick release is only there when your dog pulls so hard you're desperately trying to get them off the lead and they're just pulling, you're like, oh, just go. You've just rewarded your dog for pulling like mad with the biggest reward of it going free. One sec. Yeah, so slip leads, what are they there for? To choke the dog. If you don't have a stopper on a slip lead, they will choke them. And if you are training your dog via yanking them back while shouting heel into place on a choke lead, please come and see me, I'll help you. I'll make it so much nicer for you and the dog. Your bicep does not need to be that far engaged. That's just opposition reflex. So, slip lead, hey man, I used to do it. I also had a dog that was a lot older and didn't pull for many, many years. So slip leads are there to choke the dog. If you want to stop your dog pulling via choking it, please come and see me. I would love to help you. There's nicer and nicer ways to do it. Huge amount of handling skill comes in with lead work, and the amount of people I correct in the way they just stand with the dog and they're holding the lead changes everything for you and the dog. It's not a simple concept, lead work, but once you get it, it comes and it's so beautiful, and then it's proofed. Really, you can work it through its stages. But lead work, really good lead work, I'd say takes 6 months to train him properly, but then you can have it for the next 12 years. Hope that helps.